In the past days of Sesshin, I've brought up some phrases from ancestors. Most recently, yesterday, bringing up Bodhidharma's "don't know," and finding and raising the echo of that in Joshu's "don't know." Please don't look for something called "don't know." Don't look for any of these phrases except as maybe reminders of what to chew on in the midst of this reality life circumstance that we encounter. That's the only use of bringing up phrases. Otherwise, we can become like parrots, learning phrases, but not really chewing up our life, which is what our practice is. Chewing up the whole of our life. Then, don't know is a wonderful, we'll call it koan. In fact, it is a koan. And for some people, it's a lifetime koan. Don't know. Don't know. In the face of it bumping against all the things that we know, that we believe should and shouldn't, and do and don't, and am and am not. And some of you have picked up the phrase that Joko suggested. Thanks for everything. I have no complaints whatsoever. And yet, they discover lots of complaints, despite their saying, I have no complaints. And despite us saying, I have no complaints. And yet, over and over, why does she have that? Why do I have to do this? How come? Whether it's what we know about what should happen to me, or should happen to these people who are close to me, or those further away, or those in, and you pick the place in New York, in Kiev, in Moscow, in Washington, I was going to say in Sacramento, but that's because I'm used to being in California, and here it's in Springfield or wherever. So these phrases are valuable, but only if we can chew them up in the real day life that we have. Our practice is not in phrases. Our practice is not in repeating phrases. Our practice is this moment here, this sound here, this breath, this person in my life who, I'm sure she's such a nice person. Don't know. I'm sure she's so mean. Don't know. Why doesn't she? Why doesn't he? So, some of you, I encouraged with the koan, don't know. Don't know needs to be chewed up thoroughly. Chewed and chewed and chewed and chewed. And we never get done chewing. But of course, our whole life is our koan of chewing. And the perfect way is no difficulty. And We pick and choose, and yet does not hold to picking and choosing. The perfect way life that is our life is what we got to share in sesshin sitting together. And yet each of us is sitting in the midst of our own life with all the beings that are in the Zendo with us, outside the Zendo, that appear in the midst of dreams and thoughts and so-called memories. It's always right here now, this moment, being just this moment. Saying too much is useless. It's worse than useless. And yet I want to appreciate all of you, those who are here physically in Champaign, those of you online, all these various realms of practice, all those that I don't know that are participating, and not just humans. Yesterday and today, we expanded the Zen Center by doing Sanzen outside in the, I'll call it garden space around the beech tree, which Daijin originally helped support with contribution in honor of his wife, Mary Kamenek, and we did Sanzen there and realized how much that is part of our Zendo. And now there's no denying that because we've all participated a little bit in that. And of course, when we participate in that, we also realize that the beech tree is sitting, that the insects were sitting, the squirrels running up and down on the wires and branches while we were sitting there. They were coming for Sanzen, not with me, with the tree, with you, with the air, with the nuts that they were holding on to. The birds, the sunlight that joined us, going from so-called dark night to so-called bright day. And hopefully we'll be able to continue making good use of that. If, as I hoped, that circumstances permit, we have a session here in January, and if the snow and our bodies are able, we will also include Sanzen there. But it also just reminds us whether we are in the building locked up because of the conditions of the nature, or whether we're able to participate and include the outside spaces around here. But of course, we're also including the spaces in all directions, in the myriad directions, all over the world, all over the universe. It's always part of our sitting, even if we're just in this little room. This little room extends across galaxies and eons, except if we think it's something else. Just like if we think we're inside this bag of skin and bones, then we don't see who and what our practice is. We don't see what breathing, hearing, seeing, smelling reminds and encourages us, and if I use the word, connects us to who and what we always are, which is way beyond any of these small categories. Don't know, even the Buddhas and ancestors can't say it all. This perfect way not to. And our practice is what we take care of. We take care of the whole universe in breathing in, breathing out. We take care of the whole universe in experiencing right here, right now. And in doing what's called for if we're entangled in thoughts and emotions and reactions. That's our practice too. No problems with being entangled in thoughts, because that's the opportunity to make the effort that's appropriate to who we are. We chew on our koan, don't know for days, weeks, months, eons. Go in, get wrung out, go in, fine. We encounter people in the street, and despite our practice, we notice getting upset about what they're saying or doing to us, or what they're saying and doing to themselves or to each other. Or when we go to the store, or when we go to work, or you fill in the rest. From morning to night we're practicing, and yet we do this sesshin. We have the good fortune to be able to sit together. Good fortune, good, if I use a fancy word, good karma, that we're able to support each other and support others in practicing by doing our practice, however it manifests. So, sesshin is to clarify how to practice. It's a way station, so to speak, in the midst of this. If I use the analogy, I suppose it's an analogy, it might be a metaphor, it doesn't make a difference, of this is a marathon that's called our life, death. And we just go step by step. So today, now we are coming to the closing remarks of this session. And this continues in the many ways in the rest of our life session with many beings. Some we, as I said, are here together, some on the screen, so to speak, on Zoom, on the internet, and in many other places. Okay.